CNN has learned that the Trump administration is claiming the power to designate drug traffickers as enemy combatants and have them killed without legal review, according to multiple sources. Those sources telling CNN that the Justice Department has produced a legal opinion that argues that the president is allowed to authorize deadly force against a secret list of cartels and suspected traffickers on the grounds that they pose an imminent threat to Americans. Now, to date, the US military has carried out at least 4 strikes on boats operating in the Caribbean, killing people that the Trump administration claims are affiliated with drug cartels. Let's get you more on this. CNN's Zachary Cohen is following this story for us from...
Pretty dramatic image that you're seeing there. I don't know if that's a real one. It doesn't seem like it's moving, or maybe it's already been disabled. It's pretty wild. Tell you what, you're gonna think twice, whether you agree with it or not. We can all have that debate as to, whether it's right, whether it's wrong. But the overall effect is, there's going to be less of it. Like I said, whether you agree with it or not, it is going to have an effect.
The US military has carried out at least 4 strikes on boats operating in the Caribbean, killing people that the Trump administration claims are affiliated with drug cartels. Let's get you more on this. CNN's Zachary Cohen is following this story for us from Washington. What more do we know about this memo and these sort of offshore policies, as it were?
Yeah, Becky, this appears to be another example of the Trump administration really pushing the legal bounds as it relates to the power of the presidency itself. And this is a classified memo, we're told, that was produced by the U.S. Justice Department. And it appears to argue that the president has the power to authorize lethal military strikes against a broad array of drug trafficking groups, suspected drug traffickers and cartels in the name of U.S. national security, claiming that these groups pose an imminent threat to the United States. Therefore, they can be labeled as enemy combatants, much in the way the U.S. has characterized terrorist groups in order to conduct similar strikes against them, and that all without due process, without arrest, without a trial, without prosecution. So this is really representing a big shift. One former defense attorney or Defense Department attorney told us that this memo appears to give the president the power to wage a war even more expansive than what was granted to the president after the 9/11 attacks here in the United States. So that just gives you some context into the potential scope of these.
I mean, you have to think at this point, they have to be getting relatively desperate. Right. If we think about and believe everything that's going on as far as the border being relatively secure at this point, the amount of product coming in obviously is going to be hurting, and so they're going to start with try to get this stuff over at any means necessary. Once you start blowing these boats out of the water, people are going to start getting discouraged. You're going to have to pay more for somebody to take the risk to do these types of operations, and you're putting the squeeze on the cartel. Again, I'm not talking about whether or not this is justified or not. I can probably be swayed either way. If it's a situation where you believe that drug trafficking and you see where they are, then the argument can be made, why don't you just intercept them when they get to the port or wherever it is they're going? Are they going to United States port? If they are going to U.S. port, why not just intercept them there? That's one way, sure. Maybe that's not possible. I don't know. I'm not a seaman, so I'm not really sure about how that works. But blowing them out of the water, I guarantee you that's definitely going to have an impact. It's definitely going to have. They're definitely going to think twice before getting on that boat, stuffed full of fentanyl, and start bringing it towards the USA. And the end result might be a good thing. The means, do the means justify the end? Maybe. I don't know. But as of now, we are flooded with this stuff, and we have hundreds of thousands of people dying annually. So it's definitely an issue. How do we solve it? It's probably a multifaceted issue. This might be one of the points that's necessary to solving this issue.
Military strikes and the power that it grants to the president.
We've heard a number of Latin American countries, Zach, condemning these attacks. I want you to take a listen to Stephen Miller and how he talked about Venezuela yesterday.
There's a $50 million bounty that has been placed on Maduro in connection to his indictment as a narco-terrorist drug trafficker, and he needs to be brought to justice for the crimes for which he was convicted in an American court. Venezuela is run by a drug cartel that is guilty of not only flooding our nation with TDA and other foreign terrorists, but of course helping to kill hundreds of thousands of Americans through deadly drugs.
In listening to that, I wonder, is the administration here gearing up for something bigger?
Yeah, Becky, it certainly appears so. And we've done a lot of reporting on the effort inside the administration to really lay this groundwork, as far as Venezuela goes specifically, to connect Nicolas Maduro to some of these drug cartels that the Trump administration has even publicly labeled as foreign terrorist organizations. We've obviously seen simultaneously this buildup of U.S. military forces in the Caribbean and resulting in these 4 lethal strikes. And, coupled with this Department of Justice legal opinion, that really does serve as the backbone for the broader strategy here and potentially goes beyond just Venezuela itself. We know from sources inside the administration and allies on Capitol Hill that there are many within the Trump administration who really do see this as an entire Western Hemisphere mission, one that they do intend to expand beyond Venezuela itself. But as we said, the efforts to label Nicolas Maduro as the quote illegitimate leader of Venezuela would suggest that the Trump administration doesn't feel the need to get his approval before potentially conducting strikes inside Venezuela itself. And we know that is something that the president has been considering for at least a few weeks now, and it's something that he suggested just the other day that might be coming. So this could extend to other countries, but Venezuela really seems to be the proving ground, at least, for both this legal theory that the Justice Department has put together, as well as the U.S. military strategy as it relates to the entire Western Hemisphere.
I mean, it's interesting because it's something that we've known that our government has been involved in for decades, since the inception of at least the CIA. I mean, the fact that they're going to sit. I mean, listen, it's a little bit different now when you're doing it out in the open. You're doing it in a way that is, you not that you're showing your cards, but in a sense you are. Where the CIA normally would do these operations and sometimes ally with the drug cartels and things of that nature. If you could dig deep into the CIA's history, but in this scenario, obviously there's a lot of moving parts. This is geopolitics. This is not ever cut and dry. There's nothing ever cut and dry about geopolitics, about influencing other countries, getting other countries to do certain things that you want them to do, playing ball, all those stuff like that. Obviously, from what we've seen, he wants Maduro out. He thinks that it'll be beneficial. It'll benefit the United States or whoever, right? It'll be beneficial to an entity if Maduro is put out and somebody else there that's more either friendly or more capitalistic, or I think that'll be the veil that they probably put in front of this, is that we're trying to free the people, stuff like that. It seems like you're doing an obfuscated regime kind of change kind of thing. Not the best. I mean, I personally would say that, okay, stopping the drug flow would definitely help out America. That definitely would be a good thing. Stopping the narcotic flow, especially with these the lethality of the particular drugs that are coming over right now is just insane. If you can also change people around to benefit the U.S., I don't like getting into that business. Personally, I feel uncomfortable with that. I think that we need to stay out of being the world's police, and that's my personal view. On the drug trafficking side, I can definitely get behind stemming the flow, tamping this down. If you want to go the libertarian route, then you can say, sure, we can allow people to use these things, but at least if they were either produced here or they were somehow, safe, then it would be okay. There's a lot of arguments, there's a lot of sides to this issue. It's complex. It's not cut and dry. Guys, if you're still here, please hit the subscribe button. That's all I ask. I don't ask for anything else. Just hit the subscribe button. But yeah, this is a very complicated issue. You can have a lot of nuanced points on this. You can say that maybe he shouldn't blow those boats out of the water. You could say that he definitely shouldn't blow those boats out of the water. You could say that he's absolutely right in blowing those boats out of the water. And almost everything in between. You can track them. You can. I don't know about sanctioning Venezuela at this point. I don't know what that's really going to do. But yeah, it's a super interesting issue. I think overall he'll come out with a win. Maybe it's not about winning and losing. It's also about, sometimes just about saving people's lives. I mean, these drugs are destroying some of our people. I mean, hundreds of thousand people, I think, almost annually. Everybody knows somebody that's died of an overdose, and it's the way these things are manufactured, the way they're produced, very cheap, very effective, very, very strong. And it's killing a lot of people. So if in the end, they blow up a couple of boats and this stems the flow of this drug that's coming in and destroying our people, then maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. You tell me what you think. I mean, legally, morally, there's a lot of different avenues you can take on this issue. Guys, if you want to follow me for more content, it's 6283 Talk on the X. I'm John Soto. Please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.